What's up guys, this is JF Dean and welcome to the new and first episode of the Indie Time. Today we're going to talk about The Binding of Isaac, and for me, this is one of the best games I've ever played of this genre. First off, I need to say this video won't say anything about the expansion, that's called Wrath of the Lamb. Probably, I'll make a video about it later. The main reason of it's because I didn't buy it yet, of course, and I wanted to make a video about the core game first. The Binding of Isaac was created by Edmund Macmillan and Florian Heimsel and was released on Steam on September 28 of 2011. Before I talk about the game itself, I think it's needed an explanation about where did the name of the game and the storyline came from. The origin of these elements comes from a biblical story also known as the Binding of Isaac. In this story, according to the Hebrew Bible, God commands Abraham to offer his son Isaac as a sacrifice. When he was about to do it, an angel stopped him, saying that now he knows that Abraham fears God. After this event, Abraham noticed a ram nearby, and then sacrificed this one instead of his own son. The game's plot doesn't change the biblical story too much. Well, just a major difference. There is the final intention by the parents. So, Isaac is a happy kid that lives with his mother in a small house. Isaac used to draw and play with his toys, while his mother religiously watched Christian telecast on the television. One day, Isaac's mother heard a voice from above that said that her son is corrupted with sin and she must save him. She obliges, taking away everything from him, including his clothes. Not so long after, the voice speaks again, stating Isaac must be isolated from all the evil in the world. With that said, the mother locks her son in his room. When the voice speaks again, it says that she has done well, but it still questions her faith and commands she must sacrifice her son. Once again, she obliges, and after grabbing a knife, goes to Isaac's room. While all this happened, Isaac was watching the whole scene from a crack in his door and obviously starts to panic. He then finds a trapdoor under the rug, jumps down it as his mother busts into the room, and the game begins. Looking at the lore of the game, usually people would guess the game should look really dark, but the thing is, because of how the game was made, with graphics that resemble childlike drawings, the game doesn't really look that way, even with all the blood and some strange monsters. You might want to put into account that I'm really into dark comedy. Between parts of the game, the player will see Isaac in a fetal position crying and dreaming of something. In these scenes, you can see that his childhood was hard, suffered bullying and rejection from his own mother. Some of the dreams he can have are impossible to happen, so we can guess that those are things he fears. The Binding of Isaac is a two-dimensional action-adventure game as well as roguelike, subgenre in which death is permanent and the player is forced to restart with nothing they die. In the game, you can collect coins, bombs and keys. Coins are used to buy items from the shop. Bombs are used to destroy rocks, do some damage to enemies and open secret rooms. Keys are used to open locked chests, locked treasure rooms and the shop. The gameplay is really smooth, sometimes you can see a bug but nothing that is game breaking. The combat is really simple. Isaac blinks his tears as a weapon, you can even piss at your enemies with the right item. As you go through the game, it's easy to realize the pattern of the enemies, and in no time you'll probably think you got the hang of it, and take a lot of damage out of nowhere. In other words, this game is hard as fuck. Items are extremely important to the Binding of Isaac gameplay. With their use, the player can obtain a big variety of things. They can be classified as activated items. These items will fill the spacebar slot, and only one can be carried at a time. This item, once used, will recharge over time. Passives. They add a permanent effect to Isaac. These items cannot be removed. Pills. These items will fill the kill slot and can only be used once. At the start of each session, the effect of each pill will be assigned randomly and will remain in that way until the end of the game. Tarot cards also occupy the kill slot and also can be only used once. Unlike the pills, each card has a unique and predetermined effect. Pickups. These are common items dropped in game: coins, keys, bombs, and hearts. There are 5 environments in the game: basement, caves, the depths, the womb, and Sheol. It is necessary to say that the chapters are always separated in 2 parts, with one exception that I'll mention later. In every floor, except the womb, contains a treasure room and a shop. To go through each part, the player must fight a random boss. The womb will only be available when the game is finished one time. After beating the game for 10 times, and I mean when you kill the mom for the first time and start the game all over, instead of an end chest there will be a trapdoor after beating the womb, and this will bring Isaac to Sheol, the final chapter. This chapter won't be separated in 2 parts and can be accessed earlier if a devil room or an angel room appears after the mom's hard fight. Throughout the chapters, the player can fight 48 monsters and 23 bosses in randomly generated rooms. As you play the game, more and more you'll notice the soundtrack of it. It's really engaging and makes sense with the environment you're on. When you start the game, the music is pretty calm, and as you move on, it intensifies. In other words, how close the player is to Sheol, the most intense will be the soundtrack. The game works with the idea of secrets. Those are objectives that the player must complete so that new items, bosses, and characters can be added to the game. For example, if you want to unlock Cain, the player must gather 55 coins in one playthrough. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is a remake based on the original game. It also includes the expansion, the DLC. The rework will be developed in a new non-flash based engine, and will have a lot of new features that include local multiplayer, the ability to save a game session, and also will be porting to the PS4 and PS Vita. I wanted to talk about this game first because I think it's one of the best games I've played. It has flaws, obviously, but if you're looking for a cheap but a very good challenge, you should definitely buy this awesome game, because even when you die in the most stupid way, or the game gets too difficult, you always want to start over and see what you will find out next time. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I plan to do a lot more of these, and see you next time.
Isaac and his mother lived alone in a small house on a hill. Isaac kept to himself, drawing pictures and playing with his toys as his mom watched Christian broadcasts on the television. Life was simple, and they were both happy. That was until the day Isaac's mom heard a voice from above. "Your son has become corrupted by sin. He needs to be saved." "I will do my best to save him, my lord," Isaac's mother replied, rushing into Isaac's room, removing all that was evil from his life. Again the voice called to her. "Isaac's soul is still corrupt. He needs to be cut off from all that is evil in this world and confess his sins." "I will follow your instructions, Lord. I have faith in thee," Isaac's mother replied, as she locked Isaac in his room, away from the evils of the world. One last time, Isaac's mom heard the voice of God calling to her. "You've done as I've asked, but I still question your devotion to me. To prove your faith, I will ask one more thing of you." "Yes, Lord, anything," Isaac's mother begged. "To prove your love and devotion, I require a sacrifice. Your son Isaac will be this sacrifice. Go into his room and end his life as an offering to me to prove you love me above all else." "Yes, Lord," she replied, grabbing a butcher's knife from the kitchen. Isaac, watching through a crack in his door, trembled in fear. Scrambling around his room to find a hiding place, he noticed a trapdoor to the basement hidden under his rug. Without hesitation, he flung open the hatch, just as his mother burst through his door and threw himself down into the unknown depths below.